business news on Sunrise. Coming up this morning, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman pushes stronger local capital markets as government rules out immediate return to international capital markets.
We recognize the need to deepen domestic capital markets and build markets that meet the needs of both users and investors.
Meanwhile, government reaffirms commitment to macroeconomic stability as IMF ECF program winds down. Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyarko Ampem assures of sustained fiscal discipline and economic recovery measures.
Supported by the IMF and anchored on difficult but necessary reforms, government has focused on restoring macroeconomic stability.
And much later, government's Treasury bill auction faces undersubscription amid a shortfall of 264.86 million cedis, missing third consecutive win. I am Christabel Success Trevor. We'll bring you details of our headlines and other stories shortly. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us here on 3FM. Now, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has reiterated the need for Ghana to deepen its domestic capital markets and strengthen local financing systems. This is against the backdrop of government's decision not to return to the international capital market anytime soon.
Speaking at the 2026 ACI World Congress in Accra, the Vice President said sustainable economic growth will depend on resilient financial institutions, stronger foreign exchange systems, and credible market reforms capable of attracting long-term investment. Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman noted that rising debt burdens and geopolitical tensions continue to reshape investment flows and financing conditions for emerging economies.
Ghana holds this Congress at a time when our own financial markets are evolving. We recognize the need to deepen domestic capital markets, strengthen the foreign exchange market, improve market transparency, support long-term investment, and build markets that meet the needs of both users and investors.
Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Finance Thomas Nyarko Ampem has reiterated government's commitment to macroeconomic stability after the successful completion of the IMF Extended Credit Facility Program.
Over the last 17 months, Ghana has undertaken one of the most significant macroeconomic adjustment and recovery programs in its recent history. Supported by the IMF and anchored on difficult but necessary reforms, government has focused on restoring macroeconomic stability, rebuilding investor confidence, strengthening public finances, and protecting the foundations of long-term growth.
That was Deputy Minister for Finance Thomas Nyarko Ampem. Government's recent foray in the domestic debt market hit a roadblock as its latest Treasury bills auction fell short of its target, ending a brief streak of positive market runs. Looking to raise 4.486 billion cedis across the standard 91-day, 182-day and 364-day tenors, government encountered lukewarm investor appetite. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk reports.
Total public bids came in at 4.221 billion cedis, resulting in an undersubscription auction. Out of the submitted bids, the state ultimately accepted 3.934 billion cedis. Government fell short of its auction target by 264.86 million cedis. This setback spoils government's bid to secure a third consecutive oversubscription. The market had only recently broken out of a grueling 7-week undersubscription streak about 3 weeks ago, pointing to lingering tight liquidity conditions or shifting investor preferences in the domestic capital market. The 91-day bill proved to be the most popular, pulling in bids worth 2.526 billion cedis with government accepting 2.511 billion cedis at a yield of 4.91%. The 182-day bill received 877.72 million cedis in bids, with the state locking in 723.5 million cedis at an interest rate of 7.04%. The 364-day bill saw investor offers totaling 817.12 million cedis, while government accepted 699.62 million cedis at a yield of 10.37%. The rate of subscription was 94.1%, while the under-subscription rate was 5.9%.
Ghana's economy still runs largely on cash, but that dependence is increasingly being seen as a major barrier to growth. For many households and small businesses, access to credit remains out of reach, making it difficult to acquire assets, expand operations, or improve living standards. There's more in this report.
In many advanced economies, a strong credit score can help individuals secure a mortgage, buy a car, or access business financing. But in Ghana, millions of people, particularly in the informal sector, remain outside the formal credit system, not necessarily because they are financially irresponsible, but because there is limited data to access and track their credit worthiness. The impact is significant. Many families are unable to finance homes or essential assets. Small businesses struggle to access working capital, while young people are often forced to delay major investments until they can fully pay in cash.
The average Ghanaian has 31% of their share of wallets to go into other things that are beyond the basic amenities. So housing, feeding, and clothing, right? They have only 31% of the share of wallet as disposable income. So if you think about that structure, it only makes sense that if you want to give access to people to any kind of product or service, you make it affordable.
General Manager of M-Kopa, Chioma Agogo, says businesses must develop solutions tailored to the informal sector if they are to unlock growth opportunities within the market. She spoke on the sidelines of the release of her company's market impact report.
Well, now take a look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some of key commodities are also faring on the global market.
On the interbank foreign exchange market, the dollar is selling at 11 cedis, 56 pesos. It gained 4 pesos. The British pound is selling at 15 cedis, 54 pesos. It gained 10 pesos. The euro is selling at 13 cedis, 43 pesos. It also gained 6 pesos. However, be guided that these figures could be higher at a forex bureau near you. On the global commodities market, Brent crude is trading at $104.68 per barrel. Gold is trading at $4,541.13 per ounce, up by $58.52. Cocoa is trading at $3,889 per ton, down by $18.
And just before we go on this African Union Day edition of the Morning News, more than 6 decades after leaders like Kwame Nkrumah championed the dream of a united Africa, the African Union continues to position itself as the voice of the continent amid rising global uncertainty. Originally formed in 1963 as the Organization of African Unity, the body was rebranded in 2002 as the African Union, with a renewed focus on peace, integration, economic cooperation, and collective security among member states. Today, the AU operates in a far more complex environment, facing conflicts in Sudan and the Sahel, terrorism, coups, and economic instability across parts of the continent. Now, Ghana continues to play an active role in the African Union affairs through diplomacy, peacekeeping and regional mediation, while also pushing policies aimed at strengthening continental integration, including its visa-free policy for all Africans effective today, May 25, 2026. We wish all of you a happy African Union Day. That's it for the business news on Sunrise. For more business stories, please log on to our website at 3news.com. I am Christabel Success Trevor. Sunrise team continues. Don't go away.